Off with roll call, please.
Alderman Clark.
Here.
He's pending.
Hi.
Alderman Mayberry.
Here.
Alderman Spargattis. Somewhere.
Oh.
Alderman Talanair.
Here.
Alderman Parker.
Here.
Alderman Shipp. Absent. Alderman Geenan.
Here.
Mayor Tomes.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Okay. We need to.
Yes. Alderman Clark notified the city through city manager Randy Tweet that he would not be physically present for the meeting tonight due to work commitments out of town and made a request to participate remotely per city ordinance.
Do we have a motion to allow Alderman Clark to participate in the council meeting?
So moved. Second.
Moved, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for joining us.
We'll let you in.
Ivory.
We'll do the Pledge of Allegiance, then remain standing for a moment of silence.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor, if I could, we just did the moment of silence, and I've been asking probably some of the other aldermen why we're doing a moment of silence rather than a prayer. I guess we've had some kind of prayer for 100 years, and I said, well, I'll ask the mayor and let him explain it because I can't explain it.
Yeah, how long it was been handled? It was dropped shortly after I know the last of us took office. In the past, the routine had been for each alderman to take their turn at doing a prayer. A good number of aldermen wished not to do that. They said they did not want to do the prayer, and so the quote compromise was at least to give people an opportunity to, in their own way, have the moment of silence and do that prayer, their thoughts.
Okay, well,
So
let
that
it
was
be
the
known.
majority of the people did not want to at that time.
Okay, let it be known that I wasn't one of those aldermen. Okay, thank you.
Yep. Okay. Item number 5.
Minutes of the February 25th, 2019 meeting.
Move to approve the minutes as printed.
Second.
Moved to second. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Carries. Thank God, remember that you're there. Item
Delay.
delay, yeah. All right, item number 6.
Minutes of the executive session of February 25th, 2019.
Move to approve the executive session minutes.
Second.
Moved to second. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Carries. Item 7, update. Couple items here. St. Patrick's Day Parade. The 2019 St. Patrick's Day Parade will be Saturday, March 16th at 11:30 a.m., starting at 23rd Street and 4th Avenue in Rock Island. Parade floats, bands, vehicles, and walkers will head through downtown Rock Island, across Centennial Bridge, and continue its course through Davenport. The Grand Parade is the only bi-state St. Patrick's Day Parade in the U.S. You can visit www.stpatsqc.com for updates and more information. Post-parade parties. Got to have the party. After the St. Patrick's Day Parade has concluded, stay in Rock Island and enjoy the post-parade festivities. Some of the various outdoor festivities include Steve's Old Time Tap on 17th between 2nd and 3rd Avenue from 9 a.m. Daiquiri Factory will hold their annual Shamrock Shakedown on the downtown plaza from 9 a.m. to 12:30 a.m. And Kavanaugh's Hilltop Tap annual Patty's Party at 1228 30th Street will be from 12 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. But please, everybody, be safe and have fun. There's other places to party also in Rock Island. American Red Cross smoke alarm appointment telethon. Boy, easy for me to say, right? On Wednesday, March 20th, the Red Cross will host an all-day appointment telethon for people to call in and make an appointment to have a free smoke alarm installed in their homes. There are no eligibility requirements. Their goal is to ensure that residents in need of smoke alarms get them. The installations will happen on April 30th and May 4th and should take less than 30 minutes. The number to call on the 20th is 309-743-2166. You know, also another little note is they also recommend that you should change your batteries on your smoke alarms, daylight savings time, also twice a year. So you can remember those. QCCA Expo Center Flower and Garden Show. The 2019 Flower and Garden Show is coming to the Quad City Expo Center Friday, March 22nd through Sunday, March 24th, 2019. This event is great fun for the whole family. Visit www.qccaexpocenter.com for more information on hours and admissions. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if I could interject, since our last meeting, our Rock Island girls basketball team have went as far and further than anyone else, and I hope in the future we can have them down here and have a proclamation or something for them. Bree Beal is the Gatorade Player of the Year for the state of Illinois. She's also the Jordan player, and she's up for Miss Basketball, and I think that's going to happen this week, whether she gets it or not. But we have to let these girls know how much we appreciate them, and we did it for the softball team also.
That's great.
Okay?
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, item number 8.
A special ordinance vacating a portion of a street, the entire remaining dead-end westerly segment of 9th Avenue, which is a cul-de-sac.
Move to consider, suspend the rules, and pass the ordinance.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Clark.
Aye.
Mayberry.
Aye.
Bettis.
Yes.
Talanair.
Yes.
Parker.
Aye.
Ship.
Aye.
Geenan.
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays. Motion carried.
Item number 9.
A special ordinance for the removal of traffic control signals at the intersections of 17th Street and 5th Avenue and 18th Street and 4th Avenue, and stop signs placed on 17th Street for northbound traffic approaching 5th Avenue, and on 18th Street for both northbound and southbound traffic at its intersection with 4th Avenue.
Move to consider, suspend the rules, and pass the ordinance.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Clark.
Aye.
Mayberry.
Aye.
Spargattis.
Yes.
Talanair.
Yes.
Parker.
Aye.
Ship.
Aye.
Geenan.
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays. Motion carried.
Item 10.
Claims. I'll read A and B first. A, report from the Human Resources Department regarding payment in the amount of $18,015.54 to David Morrison of Rock Island, Illinois, for legal services rendered from November 2nd, 2018 through February 28th, 2019. And B, report from the Public Works Department regarding payment in the amount of $69,585.67 to Compass Minerals of Atlanta, Georgia, for the purchase of rock salt.
Move to accept the reports and authorize payment as recommended for claims item A and B.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Alderman Clark.
Aye.
Mayberry.
Aye.
Spargattis.
Yes.
Talanair.
Yes.
Parker.
Aye.
Ship.
Aye.
Geenan.
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays, motion carried. And C, report from the Public Works Department regarding payment number 17 in the amount of $468,087.63 to Civil Constructors Incorporated of East Moline, Illinois, for the water filtration facility project for services provided from January 24, 2019 through February 21, 2019.
Move to accept the report and authorize payment as recommended. Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion?
Due to the nature of my employment, I will be recusing myself from this vote.
Yes, are they completed with that project, or are they still working?
They're still working. What's the completion date on that? Do you know, Mike? End of the year?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Alderman Clark.
Aye.
Mayberry.
Aye.
Spargattis.
Yes.
Talonier.
Yes.
Ship.
Aye.
Keenan.
Aye.
6 ayes, no nays. Motion carried.
Item 11.
Claims for the weeks of February 22nd through February 28th in the amount of $1,326,976.46, and March 1st through March 7th in the amount of $1,103,223.98, and payroll for the weeks of February 11th, 2019 through February 24th, 2019 in the amount of $1,528,644.01.
Move to allow the claims and the payroll.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion?
Want that money, huh?
Roll call, please.
Alderman Clark.
Aye.
Mayberry.
Aye.
Spargattis.
Yes.
Talonier.
Yes.
Parker.
Aye.
Ship.
Aye.
Keenan.
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays. Motion carried.
Item number 12.
Report from the Fire Department regarding the sole source purchase of 4 stair chairs and strap kits from Stryker of Chicago, Illinois, in the amount of $13,827.32.
Move to approve the purchase as recommended.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion?
I just wanted to say, for if anyone was looking at the bid tabs on this, that this is a sole source product, so there weren't, an array of contractors or whoever to bid this project from. It's a sole source item.
Roll call, please.
Alderman Clark.
Aye.
Mayberry.
Aye.
Spargattis.
Yes.
Talonier.
Yes.
Parker.
Aye.
Ship.
Aye.
Keenan.
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays. Motion carried.
Item 13.
Report from the Public Works Department regarding bids for the purchase of 160,000 paper yard waste bags for the 2019 Free Leaf Pickup Program, recommending the bid be awarded to Papco Industries Incorporated of Newark, New Jersey, in the amount of $65,120.
Move to award the bid as recommended and authorize the purchase.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion?
Yes, I have a
Sorry. Go
couple
ahead,
things. I'm
Jim.
sorry, Josh. This came up a year ago. We do this on an annual basis, and the cost is over $65,000 each year, and I don't see a time when we were not going to have leaves. So I think it's a perpetual problem and a perpetual expense, and I'd like the council to seriously consider measures to find sponsors to advertise on the bags, on the leaf bags themselves, and help cover that expense to whatever degree we're successful at doing that. I think we might have discussed it in study session last year. I don't know if we need to wait to study session to discuss it again, but I'd certainly welcome the input. In 10 years' time, that $65,000 will be $650,000, which we could sorely use for other things.
That's right. I want to enthusiastically second those statements, Alderman Spargattis. Two things about this program that struck me this weekend as I'm now thinking more and more about my legacy. What other things can I effectuate in a positive way here? But in thinking about my experience in working for the United Way, when I did, we had for the letter carriers food drive, the plastic yellow bags that ended up in people's mailboxes. I was partly responsible for that happening and bringing that program here to the Quad Cities. And we had a number of people pay to have their logos on that. And that was really slick advertising for them, because you get your name of the organization in all of these mailboxes all throughout the Quad Cities metro region. I think we could quickly come up with a program through CED to have a list of Rock Island businesses first to solicit from, and have a rotating, because I'm sure there'll be a nice demand or a strong interest to have their name on 65,000 bags. Every time you see it, you know, American Bank and Trust, Modern Woodman, you know.
Twice a year, if I can interject.
Yeah.
Spring and fall.
Sure, right. You know, so I think that needs to be an utmost priority for next year. I think this cost can be effectively removed from the budget through smart relationship building and taking advantage of the commercial and advertising dollars these companies already have set aside. We may as well try to alleviate the burden on the taxpayer. And the second thing is, I just think the name needs a change. It is not a free leaf pickup program. It is a $65,000 pickup program that's paid for by the taxpayers. I think it should just be called the City of Rock Island Leaf Pickup Program because we're paying for it, and I support it. You know, more and more as I've you know, I grew up in a different part of the state where, you know, we had bonfires all the time, but more and more as I've grown older and even started experiencing some of my own health stuff, right? I understand how serious this is an issue. The smoke is a real problem for a lot of folks with asthma and people on air oxygen supply. So I think we need to keep the ban in place, but I think we need to find a better way to fund this program for the future. So I appreciate you bringing that up.
Thank you for your support, Josh.
You're welcome.
Randy or whomever, have we looked into soliciting advertising bids for the LEAF program? Not free LEAF program?
So last year when Alderman Spaghettis asked about that, I think he did that in the council meeting. I was not here at that time, but I did reach out to the vendor and we did some preliminary discussions. We never ironed down businesses who would be involved in wanting to advertise, and that's something that we would certainly do going forward. Yeah. I did reach out to the vendor this weekend after trading some emails with Alderman Spaghettis, and we could look at doing this possibly for the fall program yet this year. We would have to receive our shipments. We get these 160,000 bags split in half in deliveries, one in early spring and then one for the fall pickup. So that remaining fall pickup of about 80,000 bags could be advertised if we have sponsors available for those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There would be a cost to that. We don't know the exact cost without knowing the number of vendors that we would do. Currently, one side of the bag has the City of Rock Island logo with free collection program on that. We should probably change that. But I did bring a bag. But so you could look at removing the one side of that logo and just doing whatever businesses wanted to advertise. If we were to do a double-sided print, then you're looking at additional costs for that. And he gave me a number of about $5,000 to have an additional printed side on the bag. So, and that was for approximately 50 sponsors with 25 names in each column at about a 5-inch width. So,
and do they help solicit the vendors, or is he just saying that you guys got to go find them?
I could ask, but they're in North Carolina, so probably not.
No.
Okay, so is this something that like Dan Gleason, right? Is that his name?
So Moline does this on their garbage trucks, so why don't the staff come back with a recommendation? One of the reasons why we haven't done advertising in the past, because what if someone wants to advertise and it maybe isn't something that the council wants on the side of a truck or a side of a bag? For instance, a Moline company, I don't know if we can, we're probably limited to Rock Island, but if you can get more money from a company in another city, do you want to do that? I mean, those are things the council has to decide on before we move forward, I think.
Sure. Yeah. And
why don't we make some recommendations and bring it forward?
Yeah.
Because we can still do it for the fall collection.
So I like the way James talks about it over 10 years, you know, but if we said, if there's one thing we could do to save $1 million over 15 years, if there's just one thing we could do, this is that one thing, and that's real money, so.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Are we
It is
using
paid
all
for.
of them every year?
We use about 130,000 bags a year.
So we do have some left over.
Yeah, we have about 20,000 ready to go for this spring until we get this additional order in.
Okay.
It is part of the refuse fund too, so it isn't something that would go into the general fund. Just, I mean, it's not something we can divert somewhere else. It would be used to offset the current deficit in the refuse fund.
Sure.
Sounds good. Getting rid of deficits is good.
Okay. So we need a roll call.
Alderman Clark.
Aye.
Mayberry.
Aye.
Spargattis.
Yes.
Collier.
Yes.
Parker.
Aye.
Ship.
Aye.
Geenan.
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays. Motion carried.
Item 14.
Report from the Public Works Department regarding bids for the 2019 sod replacement and 50/50 tree program, recommending the bid be awarded to Green Space Associates Incorporated of Bettendorf, Iowa, in the amount of $171,850.
Move to award the bid as recommended and authorize the city manager to execute the contract documents.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion?
Yes, could you, someone explain the 50/50 tree program so the public knows what we're talking about?
Well, we're currently revamping that program as well. We have not had hardly any participation in that program. We have a selection of trees that are approved trees that go on the city boulevard between the curb and the sidewalk, and a selection of varieties that are a good variety for that area. And then a resident comes in to engineering, request a tree to be put in. We work with a contractor to install that species of tree that they like at 50% of the cost.
Okay.
So, but we have not had a lot of participation in that program, so we're trying to revamp that to draw more interest into it.
Thank you.
Okay, roll call, please.
Alderman Clark.
Aye.
Mayberry.
Aye.
Spargattis.
Yes.
Collier.
Yes.
Parker.
Aye.
Ship.
Aye.
Geenan.
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays. Motion carried.
Item 15.
Report from the Public Works Department regarding bids for the 2019 asphalt street milling and patching program, recommending the bid be awarded to Brandt Construction Company of Rock Island, Illinois, in the amount of $67,524.
Motion to award the bid as recommended and authorize the city manager to execute the contract documents.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion?
First and foremost, I'll be recusing myself from this vote as well due to the nature of my employment.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Quick question. Can you hear me, Mayor?
Yes.
Go ahead, Ivory.
Yep.
So this is Brandt doing the street milling and patching program. Whatever happened to the RBO we were discussing earlier?
I didn't know.
That's for Randy.
Responsible bidding ordinance.
I think he's referring to the ordinance, which is section 13-118, under the defining responsible bidder. I believe that's probably the ordinance that he's referring to.
So I'm just checking to make sure that everything is fine, everything was done right. We're still putting everyone through the proper process.
That's correct. I know you can't see him, but the Public Works Director can come up. He's got all the documentation that was submitted and.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Alderman Clark, so I have the responsible bidders packet that Brandt Construction submitted for this project for 2019. It was dated February 19th, and our city engineer and myself looked through this packet, and it meets the requirements that we require for a responsible bidder.
So, Mike, when it comes time to the section about the ordinance regarding the past 3 years of the work under that contractor, what's the discussion happening about, and to be completely frank, part of the reason why we have an RBO is because of the experience we had with the 6th Avenue Sewer Relief Project. That's just part of history now for the city. And we learned a lot from that. I think we learned a lot from that. I hope we did. But I know that there are still many of us up here who are still concerned and frankly still upset that there was no means by that company to come and apologize and try to make amends for what was very much outside the norm of publicly financed construction projects. You and I both know the names on this list here, as far as their delinquency with the city on other projects, probably non-existent. It's just a matter of fact. So I guess my question is the department considering the past performance when we're determining the lowest responsible and responsive bidder for these projects.
Yes.
And so how is that weighted into this decision?
So not only they're a Rock Island contract or business, they're not on any disbarred list through the state of Illinois. They're doing 38th Street here, a $1 million project with us this year. You know, the amount of money that this contract is compared to that contract is quite different.
And I would assure you, though, on that project, if that were not financed by the state, this council would have had a very different approach to that project, and in part because of the performance. You know, and I don't mean to speak lightly on this, and I'm not trying to single out any particular contractor, but there's one particular contractor that this city has had some dealings with, and misdealings with, and there were a number of issues that I do not need to relitigate on that project, including subcontractors suing the primary contractor for lack of payment. Again, these are matters of fact and public knowledge. And so I'm still concerned that the message that we send to the other contractors who haven't transgressed against the city and the public trust and the public dollar here in the same way can continually be beat by someone who has.
And the council has, regardless of what the jurisdiction says, the council has removed them from the emergency rotation list. And so when it comes to responsible building, if there's a difference between $1,000 in contracts, you know, that this is a statement that this council majority has stated.
I would just add that in the previous years in contracts that we've dealt with Brandt Construction, except for the 6th Avenue project, we haven't had any issues with them previously. And so that was one issue. From what I understand, it was with one of their subcontractors and a claim against the bedrock quantity. And, you know, those disputes do happen. And those, we have quantity claims with contractors on different projects as well, with other contractors. And so, yeah, the council is more than, you guys, that's your decision on how you want to move forward with this approval. I'm just here to present kind of how we got here.
So, Mike, I had another question. Mm-hmm. So I'm assuming they're doing everything they should be doing in the city of Rock Island, and that's great, and that's great, good news to hear. Is there any other city that they're having any problems with, or any contractors that's having problems that are coming to our city? Are we taking that into consideration? And I don't know if they are, or if any other contractor are having problems. I just want to know, are we taking those things into consideration? Because I know we did that when the gentleman was doing the roofing program, doing some roofing job, and then we looked at what he was doing in Chicago, and we used that to say that he's probably not going to be good for Rock Island due to the fact he had lawsuits in Chicago. And so I'm just asking, are we considering that when we're moving forward?
So when I look at the contract, and having been in construction management for most of my career, that's what I did for the city of Moline. I've dealt with them. I speak with the city engineer from Moline frequently about different contracts like this, and specifically Brandt, and they're not having any issues. However, they have not done work for them recently. I'd be more than happy to reach out to other local cities here to ask that question. You know, I guess I would refer to the city attorney too, as far as if we do that for the other low bidders as well. I don't know.
Did you check the OSHA, any OSHA violations they may have had?
I looked, I have not done that a lot in my previous history here, but the last one violation I could see was from the 6th Avenue project in 2016.
And Mike, I think we're raising these issues because we are concerned that the bidding field is equitable across the board. And I am concerned that, you know, bids come in and all else being equal, none of the other contractors have had liquidated damages, have had OSHA fines on our city-funded projects. You know, and at the same time, the city of Davenport made a very bold decision. And again, we looked to our neighboring cities for our determination on the roofing contractor, that program was kicked out of Moline. And that was a determination. That was not an arbitrary or capricious reason for our determination to say, well, the council, the majority made the decision to go a direction on that. You know, I am concerned when I see our neighboring city then having to endure a lawsuit to uphold their sovereignty to make the decision, which I'm fairly certain that they prevailed on. But again, it's, you know, we bring this up because now, this is not about being anti-Brant. If this was Langman, if this was Valley Construction, if they had done to us what happened on 6th Avenue project and we had to work through that process and to rewrite our ordinance code, basically for the future to send a strong signal to the whole community, we want you all to be able to be competent and do the job and not have all these other distractions going on in the community. Is to say, you know, you weren't in the position that you were then, that you are now. Mm-hmm. And this is a really strong RBO. It's looking for the top people, the most competent, not just the lowest bid, but the lowest responsible bidder is what we're looking for through this process. And we expect that vetting to be thorough for all of the candidates, to dive into that OSHA record, to dive into the merits of their apprenticeship program, to dive in and understand, do you really have a thorough training program? Do you have a thorough drug testing program? And to put all these people up on the same bar. And then if we know, to the best of our due diligence, you all are cleared, let the bidding commence, then we think it's fair. But we did put past performance in that ordinance for a reason. So that would be a determining factor. It's in our ordinance, so all the bidders know that that language is out there as well. And so I think it's fair to make our determination on the factors we've laid out in our ordinances. I don't know.
So staff feels that they have done the due diligence here.
Sure.
They did have, you know, this 6th Avenue project was a one-of-a-kind project. It was terribly difficult. Brant has done a number of many dozens of projects for us that are similar to this project here without incident, and that's what was looked at. You know, the issue in Davenport was it was a similar project that they had problems on. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a completely different project. So I guess use that analogy, if we had another 6th Avenue project, maybe we look at it differently. But I mean, staff has done the due diligence here. That doesn't mean the council can vote however they want, as Mike said. So, but we have looked at this, and we do look at all the contractors the same, and they do have to follow the responsible bidder ordinance.
Mm-hmm.
And they do qualify as a Rock Island business. They have a legacy business. 4 generations of Brants have done business in Rock Island and in Milan. And you're just picking on them because they had a job with unforeseen, whether it was their, you can argue that it was their fault or not. They could have shut down the whole city on that 6th Avenue project, started at 24th Street and at 1st Street, shut down the whole city, and then you would have all been screaming and hollering. They would have had it done on time. But no, they didn't. They did it not one block in the city of Rock Island on 6th Avenue, not one block was blocked off more than the length of the contract. And you're just being bullies, and I think it's just despicable. It is. They qualify through the state of Illinois. They qualify for our bids, and now you're saying because they beat somebody else on a lower bid, now you don't want them but you let them go and do the work. You don't tell them you don't litigate it before you put it out. Now you're saying, well, now they're the low bid, we don't want them.
And Alderman Tolliver, I think that there's 2 points that need to be made. The first is that we don't need to extend sympathy to any of these contractors who are bidding for work. If you're bidding for the work, you should know up front it's a complicated job. And the point I would make, the counterpoint to that is, well, let's say that the lead contractor for the new bridge, the I-74 bridge, well, they're a year and a half behind schedule, and it was a complicated project. Well, I think that their likelihood of getting future work in that line of field is going to be severely diminished because, again, we're not looking for sympathy. We're looking for competency. We're looking for responsibility. We're looking for responsiveness. And the second is that the point I wanted to make earlier that I failed to make is that I think that there's work that needs to be done to repair the relationship with this particular contractor in the city because of the experience that we had with that project. There were business owners, there were churches, there were homeowners, there were a lot of residents who were very upset with how that was handled. We had a spokesperson come here and say that he stood behind the work 110% without offering even a remote apology for the inconvenience. And so, you know, we're here at the behest of the public. This is their money. And I heard, nothing but complaints, and there was all sorts of news, and it was a really bad experience that in part bore out a way for us to relook at how we do our bidding, to make sure that the most responsible and responsive bidder gets the work. So this isn't about being anti-brand or anti-company.
It certainly
no,
is,
this
Josh.
is about how do you repair a
An
relationship.
asphalt company, the other was a
Right.
completely different contract. It was a different job.
Right.
The reason in the 30s when they didn't cut the holes through those rocks because they knew it was going to be an astronomical job in the 30s. That's why they combined the sewers then.
Right.
It was
It's about fairness to all the bidders.
Okay.
And if there's one bidder who's getting preferential treatment and past performance is being ignored, then it sends the wrong signal to all the rest of them, to say you won't be judged on your record.
If the council wants to disqualify a bidder, I think it would be easier for staff if council just did that, and then we don't have to go through this. In the event that a bidder the council doesn't like, wins a bid. So I'd prefer that if the council wants to do that, that's your prerogative, and I would rather do that than have to worry about debating it each time. Not just this bid, any bidder. I mean, if there's a list of bidders that are unacceptable to the city, I guess it would be helpful for staff if the city would take the steps, and I can work with the city attorney to see what would take.
I don't want my comments to be misconstrued.
They are terribly misconstrued. You kicked Brandt off the emergency repair business.
Can I finish my statement, please? I'm saying there has to be a way to hold people accountable. And past performance for city-funded projects is a required factor in our ordinance. That's my only point.
Okay.
So either past performance matters or it doesn't.
But Josh, you know this better than I would ever know. There are bonds, there are sureties, there's insurance policies.
Sure.
They have to be bonded. If we have an issue, and Brandt did pay whatever kind of penalty it was, and it was a significant amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we do business. But when you guys decided to kick them off of the emergency repair business that they had done for 30 years for the city of Rock Island, that's unconscionable. It's not fair, it's not nice, it's not Christian.
I think it's just real quick and make comments, and we need to move on because we're going to beat this up 3 different ways in Sunday type deal. Real quick, you got to make sure in past issues and everything else that we make sure that we compare apples to apples. This project compared to the 6th Avenue project are not the same. Same contractor, but totally different scope of work. And at this point, if you compare this scope of work with past work that they've done, there's not been any issues. So I guess that's something you've got to take into consideration is to make sure we compare apples to apples. There was some other things. We could go along the details and rehash the 6th Avenue again, but I don't think that that's going to prove anything. That's beyond us, and we need to move forward. Brandt has done good work more times than they've done. It had a screw up. And we all have those issues once in a while. And I'm not here trying to support one or the other. Just got to be fair, like you say. If we truly want to be fair, let's do that. So are we ready for a roll call? Let's do a roll call, please.
Alderman Clark.
Nay.
Alderman Mayberry.
Yes.
Alderman Spargattis.
No.
Alderman Talanair.
Yes.
Alderman Ship.
No.
Alderman Geenan.
No.
2 ayes, 4 nays. Motion didn't pass.
Okay.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to award the project to the next lowest responsible bidder for Valley Construction and authorize city manager to execute the contract documents.
Second.
Second.
We do that. but it's not-
Procedurally, since we're not on I would feel more comfortable if we would put that on next meeting's agenda, because I'm not certain that would be appropriate.
Moving on. Gotta make sure I catch my right place here. Item number 16.
Report from the Finance Department regarding an adjustment to the calendar year 2019 budget, recommending increasing the Parks and Recreation Fund 555 revenues by $16,000 and expenditures by $13,000.
Move to approve the budget adjustment as recommended.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Clark.
Aye.
Mayberry.
Yes.
Spargattis.
Yes.
Talanair.
Yes.
Parker.
Aye.
Ship.
Aye.
Geenan.
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays, motion carried.
Item 17.
Report from the Community and Economic Development Department regarding an update to the Community Garden Program policy.
Move to approve the policy update as recommended.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion?
Yeah, Chandler, would you mind coming up and, I think this is a cool thing to highlight here. What you guys did and the thought and everything that went into this.
Yeah, we one of the things we heard from council was how to make sure that the gardeners have water on a constant basis. And so we looked at all the different sites, where they were in relation to the fire hydrants and how we could make this thing go, and it just wasn't really very conducive to making sure there was a constant supply of water. So we researched kind of a big cistern that you could put on the site, about 275 gallons. And we're researching it, looking at it, spoke with the city manager. He said, well, call down to Public Works. I think they got something like that down at the site. So we did, and they have plenty of them already that they use. They just give them back to the provider. And so for us, it was like, well, this is a good thing. What was brought in originally on those was not dangerous by any stretch, so we could rinse them out and use them, and basically saved ourselves about, I don't know, $3,000–4,000. They're 275-gallon cisterns that'll be available for the gardeners to lease from us, if you will, for $100. And I believe that was 2 different fill-ups during the course of the year for water. So there's a constant supply of water available for the gardeners.
Which is as a result of their feedback of they would like to contribute. They would actually feel better not having water provided for free, and that we did our job to say, we heard them when they got their awards, they want water. Great job.
It's a really neat little twist on our project, so we're really happy with it.
And Chandler, do you envision that only participants in this program, or if there are other large gardeners in the Rock Island, they could pay the same fee, enlist in the same program, or is it just for the program only?
I haven't really looked at others, like private gardeners, just the ones that are kind of a bonus for leasing one of our sites. If we want to expand it, it's something we should look into.
Great.
Yeah, I think that this was a job well done. I know that the council and the public have said, we want water on these sites, and you guys made it happen, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Alderman Clark,
Aye.
Mayberry,
Aye.
Spargattis.
Yes.
Talonier,
Yes.
Parker,
Aye.
Ship,
Aye.
Geenan.
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays, motion carried.
Item 18.
Report from the Community and Economic Development Department regarding an application from McManus Orthodontics for a monument sign to be located in the public right-of-way adjacent to their property at 4507 24th Street.
Move to approve the application as recommended with the 4 conditions as stated in the report and refer to the city attorney for an ordinance.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion?
I have a few questions. Maybe Miles or Chandler might be able to respond. This is primarily due to just safety concerns. I wasn't sure from reading the report what the orientation of the 4x6 sign was. I know the dimensions of the sign, but what direction does it face? Is it parallel 17th Street? Does it go perpendicular to 17th Street?
The drawings that we have show it being perpendicular to the street.
And how close is the leading edge of the sign to the street?
Well, that's one of the things that we will be working on. There's no exact site location within the right-of-way. What we're asking for this evening is just permission to put it in the right-of-way. We'll be working with engineering, police department to make sure view sheds and everything else are acceptable so far as blocking view. When someone taking a left, they can look up the right-hand side. So we have a long ways to go yet on this project so far as getting everything nailed down before construction starts.
Okay, as long as that's a footnote somewhere.
It is.
I drove out there today before coming to study session and backed up into that little concrete apron that's there now. And I could imagine if trying to look to my right to see if there was any oncoming traffic coming from the north traveling south. And I just want to be sure that their view isn't, the cars coming out of that driveway can see.
Yep.
And their view isn't blocked.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah. Roll call, please.
Alderman Clark,
Aye.
Mayberry,
Aye.
Spargattis.
Yes.
Talonier,
Yes.
Parker,
Aye.
Ship,
Aye.
Geenan.
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays. Motion carried.
Item 19.
Report from the mayor regarding reappointments to the Illinois Quad City Civic Center Authority, the Rock Island County Joint Animal Shelter Board, the Fire Pension Board, and the Fire and Police Commission.
Move to approve the reappointments as recommended.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion?
Names.
Oh, that's right. Hang on. I'm going to try to do this electronically. And if I don't get it,
He has it right here.
now that I just did this, I hopefully I can get back to my agenda. But we'll have a problem. But for the Quad City Civic Center Authority / tax layer is Stacy Happ. Happ. For the animal shelters, Linda Moore. For the fire pension is Stephanie Mason. And for Fire and Police Commission is Greg Hass. If you remember, Greg just filled in for because of a death, so that was. So that's the names. Now, whether I can get back to. Actually, we can do roll call.
You can always look on the board.
Voice vote. Right?
Voice vote, excuse me. See, that's the problem with doing this electronically. I'm learning. All right, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. I'm sorry, thank you. All right, item 20.
Report from the city clerk regarding plaza activity event applications from Ribco Incorporated for the 2019 plaza season, including the outdoor sale and consumption of alcohol.
Move to approve the events as recommended, subject to complying with all plaza and liquor license regulations and subject to being shut down if complaints are received.
Second.
Thank you.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Clark.
Aye.
Mayberry.
Aye.
Spargattis.
Yes.
Talanier.
Yes.
Parker.
Aye.
Ship.
Aye.
Geenan.
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays. Motion carried.
Item 21.
Report from the city clerk regarding an activity permit application from the YWCA for their inaugural Race Against Racism to be held on Saturday, April 20th, 2019, between 9 a.m. and noon, with a street closure of 17th Street from 2nd Avenue to 3rd Avenue.
Move to approve the event and street closure as recommended.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion?
Just one question. I wasn't able to speak to the owners of the Pancake House, but I was wondering whether or not having the race go by affects their business at all, positive or negative. If anybody knows from past history of events that go by their patrons park on 18th Street and,
Yeah.
let's see, is that right?
Third.
They had signed off on this, I assume.
I didn't see them,
They had the opportunity to respond.
but they weren't in the packet. I'm just asking if anybody knows.
Let me just, if I can just add this about that race, I don't know, but I was down for, of course, the go-kart race goes right by the front of their building, and it did not affect their business.
Okay.
There was a long wait at that time.
Yeah,
So if you want to call that relative or not, but the go-kart race did not. Can't speak for the run.
Might actually help with the wait, Alderman Spargattis. You have to park further away and then quicker. 30-minute walk, and by the time you get there, your table will be ready, so.
All ahead.
Okay.
Roll call, please.
Alderman Clark.
Aye.
Mayberry.
Aye.
Spargattis.
Yes.
Talanier.
Yes.
Parker.
Aye.
Ship.
Aye.
Geenan.
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays. Motion carried.
Item 22.
Report from the city clerk regarding an activity permit application and resolution for the Corn Belt Running Club to hold their 32nd annual Quad Cities Distance Classic Half Marathon and 5K Run road races on Sunday, May 12, 2019, from 7:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m.
Move to approve the event as recommended and adopt the resolution.
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Clark.
Aye.
Mayberry.
Aye.
Spargattis.
Yes.
Talanier.
Yes.
Parker.
Aye.
Ship.
Aye.
Geenan.
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays. Motion carried.
We're to item 23. Other business.
I have a parliamentary point of order, perhaps. I'm not participating in the vote, but regarding agenda item 15, I don't understand why Alderman Ship's motion is not being entertained. The public has been informed, we're complying with OMA, that this public body is going to be making an action on awarding this contract. The only difference here is that the council is not going with staff's recommendation, which we do all the time. I don't understand why. Can you enlighten
Yeah,
me, please?
my recommendation, I guess, would be based on an abundance of caution. I want to make sure that there is not an allegation that the Valley, who is, I guess, the second lowest bidder, that the public did not have sufficient time to come and comment on that. Could you be correct? I suppose you could be correct. I thought it would be wise to err on the side of caution. For instance, let's say that someone from Brandt Construction or someone else who was supporting another entity wanted to speak to that. I thought it would be safer to wait till the next council meeting. Is it possible that we could have done that? I can't say it would be illegal necessarily, but a claim could be made that we did not fully comply with OMA, and that was my concern. So I thought it would be the best practice for transparency and also to make sure that we don't have a problem in the future.
Okay.
I suppose. I mean, we vote on not awarding a contract to a or we vote on doing something that was not how the agenda was published all of the time. And if there were people who wanted to support a particular contractor, whether the apparent low bidder or the second low bidder or whomever, this is the opportunity for them to make their case. I mean,
No harm in waiting either, so.
no, except we want to get these jobs going, right? This is another 2 weeks.
I don't know if they're gonna start that soon or not, so.
Yeah, asphalt plants don't open until the middle of April. I'm not to dispute your claim,
No,
but just as a comment on asphalt plants.
I just don't see the reason, but
And I'll be happy to look into it further. What I was attempting to do is to make sure that we didn't, I don't think that there's harm in waiting, and I would rather err on the side of caution rather than have it coming back and blow up in our face. And so, but I can certainly research that for you and get you a memo on it.
no, that's okay. That's why we have you, Dave. Thank you.
Any other comments up here open? I'll get the audience up here in a second. I guess I can't remember last time and when I went to these appointments, but I did have the pleasure of witnessing and helping participate a little bit in swearing in of some firemen. I want to say last week, I can't remember, week before, I lose track of time, but there was a number of firemen that had their probationary period and everything else and passed, and so we hired them on full-time. And then there was, I think, 2 new police officers sworn in. That, of course, then now go off to training, et cetera, and everything else. But so continuing to increase those workforces and get them back up to full snuff, and it was a great honor to be involved in those.
We should do those here.
I don't know what the policy in the past. I just live in with the past, but I'm not saying they can't be. Of course, we try to make it so the officers around and our firemen can participate. They have the families and cake and that sort of thing with it. So, but
Yeah, I know I've been at Davenport City Council meetings where they've sworn them in there.
Moline, they've done it too, I believe. We can take a look at that, but I'm not sure. They have to ask the reasoning why they do it the other way.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Let it be known that I would be fine with it.
Okay. Still there, Ivory? I heard some noise. I think
He's
we
gone.
lost him.
I think he's gone.
All right, if there's nothing else for the city council, we have Michael Edmonds. He signed up. Is he still here? Oh, okay. Sign the right away. Oh, sign it right away. Okay, that was for the dentistry deal. Then we got Hunter. Larry Hunter.
What's Larry got to say?
Good evening. Thanks for receiving me. I'm a concerned citizen, and I'm a taxpayer. I'm a concerned citizen, and I'm a taxpayer. I got some problems with my health. Don't have the money But if I did have the money, I would sue the living hell out of the city of Rock Island for violating my civil rights. Last time I was here, I had cancer real bad. Nobody wanted to listen to me. That officer pushed me downstairs. Outside the door, could nobody see? And if I hadn't grabbed that banister, I would have broke my damn neck. And I'm mad, because I've been trying to get someone to listen. That female alderman lady who sit there, she walked to the door, she seen me. She said, what's going on? I said, I need to talk to you, give her my phone number. She said, call me the next day. She wouldn't even answer her phone. I am afraid of the police department. I've been told Mr. Tweet he'd take me for granted. Oh, that's Larry Hunter. See, we got a problem, Mr. Mayor, Mr. City Manager. We got a real problem. I'm not going to let you sweep under the table. The police has been harassing me. If I'm going down the street, they'll turn around and do a U-turn, follow me like I'm a criminal. I told Mr. Tweet I was downtown once. 2 sets of cops pulled me over, one in the plain unmarked vehicle and one in the marked vehicle. You better have your insurance the next time I stop you. You hear me, boy? I become the nigga this city police officers love to hate. And anybody who stand up to defend themselves become the nigga they love to hate. When they out there on the beat, Colonial won't listen. Mr. Morrison won't listen. The last time I was down here to talk about the city problem, he wound up making my son, the scapegoat, committed defamation of character on me. Couldn't get a lawyer, went to Mr. Schultz. He said, it ain't enough money for me, Herbert Schultz Jr. I go to look for an attorney. Those are my friends. You got a good case. I'm afraid of getting shot in the back. I told Mr. Tollineer, excuse me, Mr. Tollineer, Mr. Tweet. The Rock Island police stole items out of my yard. I asked Mr. Ivory, I've asked Mr. Tweet to come talk to my neighbors who witnessed it. They wouldn't do it. Mr. Tweet said, well, I talked to the chief police and here's your wood bag. They stole items out of my yard. And you're gonna have to kill me to shut me up. Let me be the next person you shoot in the back for speaking up. They don't like when a black man like me come down and speak up for his civil rights. I'm afraid I don't want to get beat down like Daryl Dickinson, who don't have any legs and arms, get the hell beat out of him by the Rock Island Police Department, lay down in that jail and let him defecate on himself. I want Brother Preston Muhammad. I want Brother Preston Muhammad and Brother Steve Ross to call the Nation of Islam to come to this good old boy city, because something is wrong. Something is wrong with the judicial system. I've been begging, I had to kiss your behind for you to do something, Mr. Tweet, because I'm just an old nigger boy. This is up south. Up south in the worst way. Nobody want to listen. You got some bad tail officers out there on the street, especially those in the unmarked vehicle. I was taking my mother and sisters to the hospital and myself. We all had cancer.
Got about 2 more minutes, and then we need to move on.
After 500 years of oppression of a people called Negro, he gonna tell me he give me 5 minutes. This is worth listening to, and I asked you to extend me more than 5 minutes. Because I asked you, when are you gonna make the black man a vital interest? You told me, well, we'll talk to you. You ain't done a damn thing about making the black man a vital interest in Rock Island. I'm scared for my life. I'm scared of being shot. I'm scared of being set up. If police stop me, I'm scared of them putting drugs on me. Ain't nobody gonna listen. Reverend Williamson, you better listen. Virgil, you tell your pastor, I won't call his name out of respect. Tell him he's gonna have to listen. Tell him. Y'all can get the women from CCC to help y'all get over $500,000 to set up cameras, thanks to the housing authority. There's nobody here, the city don't have a place where you can set up to file discrimination on these cops. Well, Larry, we don't have any complaints from you. They followed me and my mother and my sister back and forth from cancer treatment. My mother's dead. Wouldn't tell me their names, harassing me, stopping me, because they are above the law here. This is Plymouth Rock Island. Plymouth Rock Island. Plymouth Rock Island. A lot of discrimination goes on here. You want to talk about the union. When I talked about the union, you wouldn't listen to me. My union committed racketeering. Locals Labor Union 309, where Glenn Evans worked, I worked there. I broke my back. He want to kick me. See, they want to shut me up right now. See, all of you guys, y'all don't have to suffer what we suffer. The Rock Island Police Department is capable of putting drugs on you. They're capable of doing the worst. And when you have white officers stopping black females, you get you some females officers out there to put their hands on these women. I watched out of my window during the winter time, black female get pulled over in front of my house. I watched how the officer filling all over him and giving him high five. I'd rather be dead than lie on y'all cops, but you'd rather believe them than to believe a nigga, right?
Okay, can you wrap this up for us, please?
It's wrapped up. What you gonna do about it? Nothing. Mr. Tweet, I'm gonna turn this into the Department of Justice. The Nation of Islam gonna have to come to the Quad City. Well, that nigga must be crazy. You want me to be crazy? You want me to be stupid? You unleash your dogs on me, they bird dogs. I heard the pig's supposed to be in the pen. Anytime you say something negative against the police department, they come hunting for you. When are you gonna start giving a reward for a dirty cop, a crooked cop? Some of the cops have even committed rape on the job. I told y'all to stop messing with me. Oh, shut me up. Yes, rape. I can give you names. I told y'all to leave me alone. Okay. I'm not doing nothing till you leave me alone.
All right, thank you very much. And
you sure ain't welcome.
Sorry you feel this way.
You sorry? You do something about it. Don't be sorry.
That's fine. Thank you.
You're not welcome.
Okay. We are on item 24.
Executive session, 5 ILCS 120, Section 2, C11, litigation when an action against, affecting, or on behalf of the particular public body has been filed and is pending before a court or administrative tribunal, or when the public body finds that an action is probable or imminent, in which case the basis for the finding shall be recorded and entered into the minutes of the closed meeting. And 5 ILCS 120, Section 2, C21, discussion of minutes of meetings lawfully closed under this act, whether for purposes of approval by the body of the minutes or semi-annual review of the minutes as mandated by Section 2.06.
Move to go into executive session for the exceptions cited.
Moved in second. Is there any discussion? Roll call, please.
Alderman Clark.
I think we lost.
Okay. Mayberry.
Yes. Yes.
Burgettis.
Yes.
Talanair.
Yes.
Parker.
Aye.
Ship.
Aye.
Geenan. Aye. 6 ayes, no nays, motion carried.
Thank you.
Happy Sunshine Week. We're going into executive session.
The reason why it's imminent
Very
is
much.
because they told us they're going to file suit.
Right, I remember that. When